Hello and welcome to the Auto Guide Show. This week we talk about a lot of Toyota news and a lot of fancy cars, and we also give you some consumer advice. But first, a word from our sponsor. eBay has reinvented car buying. From click to curb, everything is covered. With their new secure purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car, it's where you buy it start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. And eligible vehicle purchases are backed by up to $100,000 in protection. This is what modern car buying looks like. Get your next ride on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary. Okay, so kicking things off this week, we have a first drive review by you, Kyle, of the GR Supra Final Edition. Can't believe it's final already. It feels like this car just came out.
Right, and it's funny because it's been around for a usual generation length, right? Like I drove it in 2019. Like it's got a full run, but it still feels sad to say bye to it. So I drove this a few weeks ago. Listeners may have already heard about the GR Corolla and the GR86, so this was at the same event. The final edition has some suspension and chassis tweaks to make it a little sharper to drive, and it is actually sharper to drive, but I think most of us were a little bitter being at this event because we know that the final edition in Europe and Japan gets an extra like 50 horsepower or something.
Really?
Yeah,
like 400 something?
400 and something horsepower. And so a lot of us were like, why don't we get it?
What engine is that? Is that like the M2 upgrade or something?
It's not quite there. That's the weird thing, is it's a completely unique tune where no other car that I know of has that output. So not that the Supra needs more power, let's be honest. Every time I drive this thing, it is clear it has over 400. And on the track, it's plenty quick. It's just, yeah, that was the thing. So other than those changes in the chassis, there is the availability of the GT4 style pack, which adds some stickers down in front of the rear wheels, the red side mirrors, a few other touches, and it's supposed to pay homage to the GT4 spec race car. That's a $2,000 option, and when you get it, you have to spec one of the matte paints, either matte white or matte black. This is a collector's edition, right? This is a future collector's edition because it is very expensive. It's like a 5-figure upgrade over the regular Supra for no additional power and barely changed suspension. So is it worth it if you really want a Supra? No, probably not. Is it the best the Supra's been? Yes, and it's going to be sad when we see it go. I mentioned in this review that this entire generation is being plagued by the BMW connection, right? You have a ton of people still making that same joke 7 years later, and they're going to be the exact same people who complain that there's no car like this in a few years when it's off the market.
Yeah, no, it's back to like what I said originally. Would you believe or guess if someone said to you, this car lasted longer on the market than the Mark IV Supra in North America? Because that only lasted 5 model years, and this is its 7th, I think. I mean, the Mark IV went like 10 years in Japan, and because of video games, it's lived on forever. But yeah, like this was on the market for quite a while, although it doesn't seem like it. And like, remember 4-cylinder Supras?
Yeah,
that was a thing too. But yeah, it's sad. It's the same thing as always. It was a fantastic performer, and it looked nice. It was just impractical and pricey, and that's sort of what happened with the last one. And like you said, in 10-20 years, people are going to be like so nostalgic and fawning over this and wondering why we don't make cars like that anymore. And then Toyota will co-develop one with VinFast or something, and people will complain again. So
VinFast, the only makers of inline sixes in 2045.
Yeah. Well, I'll be sad to see it go. I always like driving it. I didn't like trying to see out of it, but who needs to see what's beside or behind you when you're driving the Supra, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So moving on to another Japanese icon, Subaru, sort of out of left field for no reason, teased 2 concept silhouettes image. Like they're not really pictures. So it's
Yeah.
it's leading up to the mobility show, which is like the
Yes.
Toyota, which is the Tokyo like auto show. Basically, they
Hmm.
have an interesting name, but that's what it is. And they showed these two pictures, and they're both hatchbacks. Um, I guess the thinking is one's gas and one's EV
Yes.
interpretations of an STI. And we know Subaru, I know them very well. They make fantastic concepts. And then if there is a production car that spawns off it, which is rare, it looks nothing like it. So I wouldn't get too excited about this ever making it. But what really puzzles me is the EV one. I'm assuming the EV one doesn't have any sort of resemblance to the current EV line, which I thought there'd be some sort of connection. And the gas one looks like a previous generation WRX STI, which is odd that they wouldn't even make it look a bit like this one.
No, it's the current one. Those are the same headlights.
Just the body lines and the headlights. Maybe it's because there's no body cladding, but it just to me when I look at it, I'm thinking of like 2019. But I guess
Hmm.
that is trying to
Yeah.
be more modern. I mean, they're always kind of boxy, so I guess there's only so much you can do with shapes.
Yeah, I think so. Subaru teased this very briefly last year, or not last year, this year, but months ago. And we were all wondering if it was a hatchback because we saw um, the hinges, and so I'm happy to see that it's going to be a hatchback, and I love the idea of making an STI that's essentially just a hatchback version of the current WRX. But as far as we knew, the WRX STI was dead. So I don't know what this could be, and it seems kind of really mean to say like, well, development of the STI is dead. Here's a concept of what we could have done. So yeah, I'm very curious, but I mean it's 2 weeks away, so we don't have long to wait.
Mitsubishi teased some Evos that never showed up. I'm trouble speaking today. Yeah, you're right. Like, I don't see them STIing the current gen for sure because
Hmm.
that engine allegedly they can't do much more. I mean, they put premium in it and it gained like 10 horsepower over the
Yeah.
regular 2.4. I'm sure you could get up to 300, but that would be kind of a waste for the STI. So
Hmm.
until there's either like if you put the high powered EV drivetrain that's in now the Solterra and is going in the Trail Seeker and the Uncharted and basically everything. Put that in a car body. That's a good chunk of power for a car. And if you performance orientate the all wheel drive, like that could work. But that or some sort of plug in hybrid that doesn't exist, like, yeah, I don't know. I think this is just sort of a stylistic. This is what it would look like now if we had one. And this is what it could look like in the future, but there's no
Yeah.
plans on it in the
Yeah.
future. Or we get like a WRX by STI. You know how we already have the TS? Now it'd be like
Oh
the
yeah.
like you know what I mean? Like sort of like or STI Sport, like how BMW has the M Sports and whatnot. Like it won't actually be an STI. So
People
yeah.
will riot.
Yeah. So oh well, like you said, 2 weeks. It's not like Toyota. Just for listeners who are regulars, and we hope there's some of you out there. Last week we talked about that great Lexus supercar that Toyota was going to debut on Monday. We'll get to what they actually showed us on Monday, but the spoiler to that is they said, "Hey, 54 more days, we'll show it to you." Which like,
It's
the
a
countdown
countdown to a
started again.
countdown.
Yeah, it was bizarre, but and now I think it's just going to be like their next super GT race car. Like I don't even think it's going to be a road car, which is so weird too that you picture the LFA and the 2000 GT, but
Yeah.
I don't know because they use the Supra right now, right? I believe.
Yeah.
And we just said it's dying. So I wonder if they're going to go Honda. Remember when Honda had the HSV, which was like
HSV 010 or whatever?
it
Yeah.
was like what an NSX would look like if they still made one, but they didn't. That's what I'm fearing. Toyota might go, and Subaru might go with the street cars. So we're just full of positivity today.
It's been a long week.
All right, so moving on, we had a video go out today, and it is on the Range Rover Sport Edition. Oh, sorry, Range Rover Sport SV Edition 2. So basically, the ultimate Range Rover Sport. And I had a Range Rover SV a couple years ago, and I did a video, and it was like a 200 and I think almost $40,000 Range Rover, and it had a lot of power from the BMW source 4.4 liter V8 and super luxurious. Well, this is sort of the sportier version, and this gets the X5M engine with even more power, which I'm surprised BMW let Range Rover do. So they must be paying a lot of money. But at 626 horsepower, which is a couple ponies more than I can't remember how BMW does it. Is the 600 and what is it, like 607 or something? Just the M, or is that like the M special M competition or something, right?
So I mean the M5's gone now. X6M is only competition, and I think that's 620. And the M5 CS before that was also 620, maybe 626.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a little more than I thought, but I know this is like a little bit more because they're sort of proud of that. So it's like they basically said, we're $200,000 because how much this thing costs. We need 6 more horsepower, and BMW was probably like, well, you're paying us 50 grand per engine or whatever they are. So
yeah, go nuts.
Go for it. So anyway, to the actual vehicle, it's very interesting because at that price point, you're playing with the Aston Martins, the Bentley Bottegas, the G classes, like all these sort of image vehicles. And make no mistake, this is an image vehicle. Yeah, I say in the video, like it says Range Rover. Everyone knows what a Range Rover is. They all look the same, more or less. They don't dramatically change the styling. Even a new one, people will be like, "Oh, that's a Range Rover," and it's got the prestige. So this one's unusual though, because like the Urus, the Ferrari, the Aston Martin, they're very performance with some luxury appointments. Then you get sort of the G class, the Bentley, and even the Rolls Cullinan, and they're super luxurious with just a lot of power. This one's kind of in the middle, where it's trying to be sporty and luxurious, and it definitely is in the middle. It's got massive grippy tires. Mm-hmm. It can grip, and it's got carbon ceramic brakes, and it can stop, but it doesn't have the feel of, as we just said, like an X5M or like a Urus or something, because it's not uncompromised, but it is also a giant box that can comfortably seat 4 adults and all your gear, no problem. The engine is ridiculous. It's like 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, which I know in the electric age doesn't sound fast, but for just pure gas in a 500-pound SUV that's a box on wheels is quick.
How does it feel?
The price tag and the fuel economy actually isn't terrible. Obviously, are a hindrance, but I totally get the appeal of it. The one issue that I have with this vehicle, and it's so weird, is the sound. That 4.4 sounds fantastic in everything I've ever driven, including the SV before, and I've driven the X7, and you drove the M60, and you drove the Alpina? What was the fancy?
Oh, the Alpina B8, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And it sounds so growly. In here, it's loud, and it makes all the world's pops and bangs and burbles when you get off the gas, especially in SV mode. But it sounds like not a V8. Like at times I'm like, is that just a big 6? It kind of sounds like, if you really open it up on full throttle and the high RPM, it sounds like a V8. But with this much power and speed, you're not doing that much. And if you're just moderately accelerating or de-accelerating, whatever, just, I don't know, watch the video and you'll hear the sound. I try to capture as best I can, but it just was weird because it has the active 4-valve exhaust. So you think it would unleash it, but maybe I don't know. I've never had a problem with that 4.4 sound. So check it out. Let me know what you think. All right, moving on. This one almost gave me a heart attack. The title is the Cadillac CT4 and CT5 are being discontinued after next year. And I got very sad because, as we've said many times on the show, the CT5 Blackwing V is my favorite car on sale. Good news is there will be a CT5 replacement, but that is literally all we've heard. We don't know if they're going to use the name and put it on an SUV. There's going to be another car with that name. There's going to be another car without that name. Like, we don't know. It's just they're working on a full-size CT5 replacement. So please keep the V8 around. I know the supercharged V8's dead, but I heard Chevrolet has a couple cool ones in a Corvette that maybe you could maneuver to angle to work on a front engine. I don't know.
Can you imagine a flat plane crank V8 in a Cadillac?
I can. I think that would be amazing. I think that that's the sort of way Cadillac does, right? With the superchargers and still the manual, like trying to shove it to the Germans and be like, oh, that's nice. You guys have these 7,000-pound hybrid M5s. We have a flat plane crank with a dual clutch in our car.
And it revs to 8,500 RPM.
So here's hoping, but CT4 will be sad it's gone, because that was a fun car too. And just the regular 5 I liked. So let's hope some sedans come, which is really sad because I remember just last year the Cadillac went on about how their sedan sales are growing. So
Well, you can't
Something
really
happened
say.
in 25. I don't know.
I guess you can't really say, "Hey, they're growing, but also we're still gonna kill them." I guess I couldn't really do that. But yeah, it's tough. I feel like every week we get news that a new car is being added to the list of discontinued vehicles. Um, yeah, like now they're going
And
to
what's
be a
sad?
SUV only brand until this replacement comes along.
What's sad is we have like a death watch list of ones you're like, this is going for sure. These were not on that list. Like
Nope.
this is an out of left field one, and that keeps kind of happening too. Where you're like, oh, that one. Like, what is Toyota going to say next week? So that Camry that we have, yeah, we don't
Well,
think we're going to make it anymore.
yeah, like I mean, this I expected something like the Audi A8 to disappear first, right? Like, how many people buy those a year? 8? Like,
Looking at you, Ultima.
yeah, like those are the cars I expect to disappear. I thought Cadillac would kind of. I mean, I guess these are also like the Supra. These have been
But I
around since
mean,
2020. They've lived their life cycle. So
but like, quick, name me a General Motors car that's built that's not a Corvette. Like, they just don't make cars, so it kind of makes sense these go away. Like
the
the Malibu's
tracks,
dead. Yeah, I know that's
technically,
really it's a raised
yeah,
SUV hatchback thing. But yeah, no, like the
yeah,
Malibu's gone, Camaro's gone. The AT4, the CT4 and the Camaro had some familiarity in platforms, so it kind of makes sense it's going. And the CT5 is just kind of doing its own thing, but it needs to come
yeah.
back and needs to have a Buick twin, and maybe that'll rationalize it.
There we go.
So moving on to other ambitions, Toyota is just casually going to go after Rolls-Royce. Just woke up one day and thought, here we go.
I mean, stranger things have happened. This is the world's largest automaker we're talking about. If they really want to push something, I feel like they can. They did it 36 years ago, right? When it was here's the LS, we're going after Mercedes, and it worked. So I mean, I'm
True.
cautiously optimistic, and this time they're actually not even starting from ground zero, right? Like with the Lexus brand, it was nothing, and here they're starting with something that is, well, admittedly well known back in the home country.
Yeah, well, even when Lexus came out, they made Centuries and Crowns, and those weren't
True,
used for Lexus
true.
originally, like the LS and whatnot. But at least they knew how to make big, stately vehicles. So that's the thing too. Like they're going to use the Century brand, which not everybody will be familiar with, unless you're like from Japan or maybe some surrounding countries or car nerds like us. Which is like it is a Rolls-Royce in Japan. Like the government has used Century limos and cars forever, and it has the name. It's just they need to sell it to the rest of the world. And like you said, they're not starting from nothing, and I don't think it'd be too hard. And it's good they're using that and not the other name they had, Crown, because they've kind of killed that in that sense with all these crowns that are running around right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know where they plan to use it and how they plan to do it, but trying to sell a $300,000 Century in America might be tough when people are like, but I have a Century in my driveway. It has a 3.1 liter pushrod V6 and a Buick badge. So, just the naming might have a little confusion at first, but once you're past that.
Maybe.
Anyway, let's talk about their first concept. It is a giant. It's very Rolls-Royce.
Yes.
Is it an SUV or is it a car? Is it just a big blob of metal that seats a lot of people? Like it's one of those. I was at a Rolls-Royce event this week and I was standing beside the Phantom again, and I forget how massive that is for a car. There's SUVs that look smaller than it.
Yeah, and that's what this does, right? It certainly looks imposing, and it has its own look. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't want to bet against Toyota. It's like, we've tried that before. Oh, they can't make a luxury brand. Oh, they can't make an amazing supercar that everyone is going to just fall head over heels over for years.
Do F1. Oh wait, no, that's not a good
example.
But this concept, you need 4 headlights on each side and a grille bigger than a Corolla, and yeah, it's imposing.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Good. I mean, I'm like you said, if there's a brand that you are like, well, they'll do it. It's them or the Korean conglomerate. They seem to just be able to do whatever they want to,
or VW Group for that matter, I guess.
Yeah. So, just getting towards the end here quickly, the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Yes, it is now called a Jeep Grand Wagoneer. It's no longer its own thing. Got a styling update, and it's for the better, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it modernizes. It aligns more with the other Wagoneer, the Swagoneer, if you will. Mike, what about the regular Wagoneer?
What about it? Where is it falling now in the yeah. So
It's
you
just
go
dead.
Swagoneer to Grand Wagoneer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I get because I get what Chrysler, I call them Chrysler Stellantis, whatever you want to call them. I get what they're trying to do was they're trying to have Wagoneer, Suburban, Expedition, blah, 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 Grand Wagoneer, Escalade, Navigator. But I don't
yeah.
think people ever got that because I don't think it was marketed right. They didn't call them Jeeps, which is confusing. So, just go after the high end. And there's so much confusion in that market anyways. Like, where does a Expedition Platinum Max end and a Navigator begin? Or where does a Yukon Denali end and an Escalade begin? So,
Yep.
I just kind of go in there. And you're right, it looks like this Wagoneer, and it looks like what I think the Grand Cherokee's going to look like if that leaked image we saw is anything. And the most important thing is it looks less like a fridge. And I think that's a
Slightly.
big plus.
Yeah, yeah.
I said less. I didn't say not like, just less.
Yeah, yeah. And then the big news is the the Reeve. They need to work on the acronyms. Yeah, the range extending setup that we know is coming to the Ram pickup makes it here first, which I think is a kind of a surprise. We knew it was going to happen eventually. They share a platform, but to put it on your small scale, fairly niche SUV instead of your selling a ton truck was interesting to say the least.
It's almost like it might be a test bed to see if it works right before they go all in.
Yeah.
But I mean, did we not say that this drivetrain would make so much sense in a big SUV? I guess Stellantis agreed with us.
Yeah,
Probably
so
before we said it, but
it sounds insanely complicated. It's like you get a 600 and something horsepower vehicle, but there is a V6 that's running as a generator to power one of the two electric motors. There's a battery pack that's nearly as big as some EVs, like some 3-row EVs on its own. It's going to weigh a ton, but I guess that's just what we live with now.
I mean, it's a Grand Wagoneer. It's not like
Yeah.
starting with. It's not like an M5 that's suddenly 6,000 pounds. It's like, oh, your 7,000 pound car is now 9. Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And speaking of giant heavy vehicles, I believe this is our final story of the week. But yeah, Kyle, you wrote this story. I'm still confused about what's going on here, so I'll let you just take it away.
I only have 30 seconds of a teaser video to go from, of which maybe 6 of those seconds actually feature the silhouette here. But listeners may or may not have heard that the Lexus LS is discontinued. It's the end of the line for the sedan that started it all. Except now, there's going to be a 6-wheel minivan concept debuting at the Japan Mobility Show. Wait, Japan? Tokyo? Yeah. At the auto show, at the auto show in Japan at the end of the month, there will be a 6-wheel Lexus minivan with the badging LS. That's all we know. We don't know if it's electric. We don't know how many opening doors it has.
Okay.
I'm just...
First off, it's a 6-wheeled vehicle. It is not a minivan. There's nothing mini about this monster. It's like a bus.
True. Yeah.
If those wheels are scale of what a modern wheel is, like let's say they're even 19 or 20-inch wheels, this thing is massive. It looks like one of those what people would imagine a futuristic car would look like in the 90s or something. Like some weird modern post-apocalyptic video game something. So we'll get to it later, but you're gonna be here, so you're gonna get to see it in person, and I want video and I want scale comparison of your height beside this thing.
So someone does walk up to it in the video. It seems like the glowing bits that we see in the teaser aren't like the outer ends of the wheel. It's just like the inner caps. So the scale isn't quite. I know, because when I first saw that, I was like, that thing is enormous. It still looks big. Don't get me wrong. It looks way bigger than a Sienna, but it's not like 18-wheeler kind of big. I can't wait to see it. I will try and get as much video, assuming that I can, as possible, because this is wild.
So before we move on the AutoGuide show brought to you by eBay Motors, I just want to say this, and remember Mercedes recently did that other crazy van. If we're getting into the era of super luxury super vans, I'm all for it. Let's go.
It's funny you mentioned that since I spent a half hour with that thing recently. So yeah, I'm full in ultra swanky van mode. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like people are like, we want super swanky SUVs, but they're kind of compromised interior space. And someone was like, well, there's a vehicle that we can get even more luxury crammed in. So
and what's more luxurious than a ton of space?
exactly. All right. So like I said, we'll take a quick break, and then Kyle and I will be back with Greg to talk about some consumer advice
Yeah,
through the means of a fun game. And then I'll be back
yeah.
with Colum, and Kyle will be back to wrap things up. So we'll see you soon. eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. It's all thanks to their new secure purchase. Ever try to buy a car and end up in a parking lot with a stranger on some blind trust? Or spend half the day at a dealership talking to pushy salespeople and signing paperwork? Or maybe worst of all, wait hours at the DMV just to transfer the title? That era is over. For years, eBay has been the go-to for gearheads, collectors, and DIYers. Because whatever you're into, from classics to SUVs and trucks to imports, eBay's got it. And now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your next ride, it's where you can buy it, start to finish. Sellers and titles are verified, paperwork is handled by experts, and payments are traceable and digital, so you know exactly who you're dealing with and exactly what you're getting. Plus, you can finance, insure, and register your vehicle all in one place. No more hours at the dealership, no more trips to the DMV. Get your vehicle, plates, and paperwork shipped to your door ready to drive. And it's all part of one seamless process designed to feel as easy as buying anything else online. And eligible vehicles purchased on eBay are backed by up to $100,000 in purchase protection. Thinking about selling a ride? Secure Purchase makes that simple too, because you know your buyer and their funds are verified. If you still owe on your car, the financing payoff is fully integrated, so you're not chasing paperwork or waiting on checks to clear. And with Secure Purchase, you get paid fast, and you're not going to be stuck chasing no-shows or answering the fifth still available messages. This is what modern car buying looks like. Skip the DMV, skip the sketchy meetups. Buy it on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary. All right, welcome back. As I said at the beginning, we are going to give a little bit of consumer advice. I think it's some consumer advice as much as it's just a fun game for us to play. We have Kyle, obviously, here with us as usual, but also Greg is joining us. We are going to pick our best recommendations for 3 different classes of vehicles at 3 price points. So let's start it off, I guess, at the high point and work our way down.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. So
Yeah.
The first one is sort of a segment that used to have a lot of choices, but it's dwindling as cars get expensive. The best luxury SUV for under $50,000. Like I said, there's not many choices. I was looking at some like an X135. Nope, not going to happen. A GLA 35, not going to happen. So let's start with Greg. What did you pick?
I went with the GLB, which I think is a kind of attractive crossover that I feel like in some ways it's been a little underrated. With just there's so much going on with the Mercedes lineups, both like with all the AMGs and things, and all the different crossovers, you name it. I think this is a bit of a sleeper pick. It's kind of unique. It's almost like a little bit of a boxy, silhouette that reminds me sort of the old GLK, which I also kind of liked more than a lot of people did, I think. So I'm down for it. It comes in fairly comfortably under 50. I know we're going to have some fun with some of these prices, but this one's about 46. And you're able to add the AMG Night Package, which is about $3,300, and that still gets you to well under 50. So I'm at, let me see, where am I? Oh, I'm right at about 50. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good deal. You could add, play around with a couple options and get something that's fairly unique. I think it's cooler than like an X1 and, any other of the smaller Lexuses. So that's my pick.
All right, Kyle, we'll go to you next. So Greg's going with the compact German. What are you picking?
I am moving up a size. Well, not really moving up a size, coming to think of it, because the GLB is pretty right-sized. And I'm going with the Genesis GV70. I'm going with that because even in base form, Genesis over-delivers. You get a vehicle that, if people don't know what the brand is, they'll get in and be welcomely surprised at just how nice it is inside. I feel like you get a lot of car for the money. The 4-cylinder is actually my pick for the GV70 gas lineup too. I think the V6 doesn't offer enough extra power to really justify the price. And then you, of course, you have bigger fuel bills. So 300 horsepower is plenty. And yeah, I think it looks stylish. It's pretty comfortable. It's spacious. And I am right up against the $50,000 limit, so I can't add anything. But yeah, that's my pick.
Well, I don't think 300 horsepower is enough. As I said earlier, was looking at some performance ones, and I ended up settling on a vehicle that is pretty much right on the $50,000 mark completely. It is the Swedish Volvo EX30 Plus twin motor. So I get 422 horsepower and all-wheel drive, and after destination, I'm basically right on 50 grand. It's the entry level. It's not the cross country, but I get that weird little funky interior and a ridiculous amounts of power. So that'll be my pick.
Yeah, you have the car that was so quick at Test Fest last year that it couldn't entirely brake in time to get around one of the corners on the handling course. Yeah, that is probably the most power you can get for this price, I imagine.
In a luxury, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to be very careful with what you pick. You have to get not cross country, the base plus, no extra colors or extra options. You can get the motor, and then it's like 48 and change plus destination, puts it right at 50. So
okay.
All right, so let's move on to, since I'm talking big power, performance. So performance vehicles under 35,000 was like the sweet spot of the market for a long time, and in the last couple of years, it's gotten out of control. I mean, the BRZ barely makes it. The WRX has blown past that. It's crazy. Remember the V8 Mustang used to be like 30 grand, and it's like way past that. So I guess I'll start this time because I went last time. I'm breaking the rules. I'm going with something that actually costs $35,500 after destination. So I'm going to have to haggle $500 off or get a gently used executive demo. But I'm going with the car that I'm actually driving right now, and that is the Hyundai Elantra N. It is just so much performance for the money. It wouldn't, if money was no object, would it be my first pick in the class? Maybe not. But when you throw in price, it is such a good deal, and it is such a fun car to drive.
Greg, I don't know if you can. Do you want to go next? Do you have any any rebuttal to Mike's pick? I mean, he's disqualified because he picked the pricing, but
it actually cancels out. It makes my upcoming pick look a little bit lamer, as we were sort of discussing here off camera. But I went with the classics here. Play the hits. Mustang EcoBoost. It's $35,000 right on the button. It's actually $35,000 in $10. So you got to negotiate that away. I'll give one floor mat back or something, but
yeah,
so I think, honestly, I still think that's a pretty good deal, over 300 horsepower. It's, the way I spec this one out, there's a little bit of room to run here. Plenty of standard stuff. You actually can't even get like the optional like racing red paint, or that will put you considerably over the 35 grand mark. But I went with the classic Oxford white, which, mid 60s Mustangs actually kind of, you think back to that like Wimbledon white color. I think it's a good look for this car. Pretty classic. You get the 10-speed automatic, which is actually great. Again, that EcoBoost 4 is pretty strong. It's a basic interior, cloth bucket seats. Sync 4 with voice recognition. So some standard stuff. Destination fees. We're talking just about how expensive everything is. Destination fees are $19.95, and then there's some shady acquisition fee on here.
Take that off.
Oh yeah, you're under the limit. Then you're not disqualified because we don't
true.
count
the acquisition fee.
Okay, fair enough. So I can take that off, and that does get me comfortably under. And actually, Ford was kind enough to tell me my payment would be a pretty reasonable $364 or $364. So that's not bad. I think you get a lot of car here. It's a good looking Mustang.
Two things. A 350 horsepower rear wheel drive pony car isn't exactly lame. And it's funny hearing an American complain about a $1,900 destination charge. That'd be a dream up here.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. I should say
we still have a few 18s.
It's 315 horsepower, just to be clear. 315 and 350 pound-feet of torque. So, but that's still a good deal horsepower for a car that's relatively light, rear-wheel drive. That 10-speed is a great gearbox. So, yeah, it's all you need.
Yeah, yeah. So my pick, I'm playing to the hits too, and I'm going with Miata. Miata was actually probably a few years ago. It was the only thing you could really buy, the only convertible you could buy under 30,000. It is no longer the case, but it is still comfortably under our self-imposed limit enough that I can move up to the mid-level club trim, which means that I get the 17-inch wheels, I get the Bilstein dampers, Bose sound system. I get a pretty good spec Miata, really. And I could add the other stuff that would take me over the limit, but I don't feel like I'd be missing those things. And the Miata is still such a sweet darling of a car that there's nothing else like it in the market. So that's my pick. It has less power, but I think I'd be smiling most often.
You and I would be ripping around a track, having a blast with their grippy, well-balanced cars while Greg's flying down the straightaways, then just praying it'll break in turn with those all-season tires and standard brakes.
True. Very true.
But I mean, they're all good picks. I would easily take any of those three. I've driven them all.
Yeah,
they're all great. So now more consumer focused, I guess. There isn't much under $25,000 anymore. Again, this used to be like basically every compact car and even some entry level SUVs, but now it's few and far between. So we'll help people sift through the limited choices and pick what would be the best choice under 25,000. And I guess Kyle, you haven't gone first yet. So what's yours?
I have not. So I just want to add the things that I couldn't pick because, like you pointed out, Mike, there are surprisingly few choices under 25. My original pick was going to be the Corolla Hybrid because get the lowest trim for that. It's a Corolla. It'll last forever. And you get great fuel economy. So that was going to be mine, but it starts at 25 and a bit before destination. So that's out. My pick is the Chevrolet Trax. It's a good vehicle. It's basically a car because it's front drive only. It's spacious. It's stylish. It's well equipped. You can't get the top trim for 25, but you have choices. And so that would be my pick. It's a really good and actually a little bit fun to drive car.
Yeah, it's sort of my always go-to choice when people ask me, I need a basic car to get around, or my son or daughter needs a car or whatever. I say, look at the Trax. It's the money for the space, for the everything. It's a good deal.
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right, Greg, I'm just checking my pricing to make sure. So I'll let you go first. Just to make sure I don't go over again because I'm getting a lot of trouble. Oh.
Do some negotiating. See what you got to do to get that down. You can, however that works. But for under 25 grand, and this is about $500 under 25 grand, I'm going to go with the Hyundai Elantra. This is the SEL Sport. So not the, the amazing N line that you went with, but I think that's actually a great pick at the, the higher sporty price point. And I think the same holds true for this, for the lower price point. The Elantra, I think, is really well-rounded. It's a real car. I think it looks good. I've really enjoyed Hyundai design for the last, really close to 15 years. I think they've taken some risks. They haven't landed every single time, but more often than not, including this time, I think their cars look good. You can get a fair amount of car for this. It's 34 miles per gallon combined. Just a respectable 147 horsepower, 4-cylinder. I kind of like these 17-inch alloy wheels. You actually do get some things like a leather wrap steering wheel. So it's, again, with Hyundai, they're going to chase value all day. They're going to give you a little bit more maybe at different, I think, price points than some. Some brands will. And I think you're not going to go wrong with this. I think it's a pretty solid vehicle.
It's funny how Kyle's trying to get in that class, and you chose that class, unless they're going for like the little guys, like the Versa or anything. I too, Kyle was trying to go for the greatest hits, and I looked to see what an entry Civic is, and it starts just under 25. Once you throw on destination, it's gone. So I went with one of my favorites in the class, and again, I'm $200 over, but I could find $200. That's not a big deal. So for that price, I'm getting 16-inch alloy wheels. So Greg, you went up to me, but I get a leather wrap steering wheel. I get rain sensing wipers. I get a 8-inch infotainment system, an 8-inch digital cockpit, 158 horsepower turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, going with the Volkswagen Jetta S. Get a lot of car for the money too, because it's a big compact.
That's a good pick.
It's 25.2. I can get $200 off. If I slap $25,000 in $100 bills on the desk, I don't think they're going to say no to me.
You just need one of those December, sell-off type of things. You can do it. Volkswagen, what is it? Sign then drive. That's the thing. So
I don't have that up here.
Oh, okay. Well, then you got, I don't know.
The downside to my choice is I get a choice of 4 colors. Never mind. I get gray, black, blue, and I think one of them I can't afford. So, and white. So I get more. But yeah. So I get a bunch of shades in blue. So there we go.
That's not a bad pick. I mean, like, that shows just how much car you can still get for 25. I know the pickings are slim, but those are all really good cars that we wouldn't feel like we were getting punished for being in.
Well, like you and Greg were able to go up a couple trims, and I can't, but still, they're all coming with decent equipment. You're getting like digital dashes, and you're not getting, urethane steering wheels and or wheel covers or some of the stuff that used to be the trademark of getting an entry level. And I think that's partly because cars are so expensive. They have to sell them at a higher point, so they're just putting a couple more features on, so it kind of seems worth it. There's no more, strip it out and sell it cheap, because it doesn't, I think, save much. So yeah, I mean, there is choices out there. It's just things have changed, and they're going to probably continue to over the next couple of years. And I don't know when we'll get stability, but hopefully soon. I'm not looking forward to the day when you can't get like a Civic or a Sentra for under 30,000, but that could be happening soon.
Yeah, the prices are rough all around, and it seems like every segment, but the content, which I think is sort of in our business, to use one of our buzzwords, I wouldn't say it's never been better, but I mean, to your point, Mike, like at 25 grand, like most of these things have digital screens. The one I picked had a leather wrapped steering wheel. Like, these are cars with respectable horsepower. It's not like here's some wheezing 99 horsepower, whatever, hooked up to a 5-speed manual. Like, these are legit cars. So, yeah.
Nobody picked the Mitsubishi Mirage.
It's because it's dead.
Poor Mirage.
This was fun. This was a good little challenge.
All right, well, we'll do some other segments in some future weeks, I am sure. We'll try to find some more that maybe like best hybrid under a price, or mainstream SUV, or luxury car. There's lots. So until then, we will take a quick break, and I'll be back with Colum to talk F1, and then Kyle will be back to wrap things up. All right, let's welcome Colum Wood back to the show to talk a little Formula One. So this weekend, well, we'll have passed by now, but big race in Austin, but we always have other stories to talk about first.
We do. This is an appropriate Austin weekend, because it's the first news is that the Americanization of Formula One is like almost complete here, right? So this morning, as we're recording this, Apple TV announced their deal with F1. So they will be in the United States the exclusive media partner for the next 5 years. And it's something along the lines of, I don't know if the exact numbers were released, but something like $160 million a year is what Apple's paying for those rights. So it will be, all Apple all the time.
So I'm a huge Apple consumer. Like, I have owned iPhones for probably 20 years now, and we're talking on my Apple Mac. Family all has Apple. Like, I'm a big Apple supporter, but Apple TV and sports, oh man, I don't know. It's no secret I'm a giant baseball fan. Whenever an Apple TV baseball game's on, everyone cringes. And I'm not talking about my region of my fans, like everyone. Like, their visual coverage is okay, but oh man, it's terrible. Like, the announcers are doing their best, but they're not like the top tier guys are doing like playoffs to kind of know everything, and they obviously don't know the teams, and it's just, and you're locked into having to have Apple TV for it. And I know they do hockey. I mean, you're more of a hockey fan. I don't know what those games are like, but if it's anything like the Apple TV baseball, this is going to be terrible.
Yeah, it's actually I tends to be actually hockey on Amazon Prime, and they've actually done an excellent job. They do a good job, but here I'm nervous about. So like they actually haven't said who we're going to get. Like, will it be Brundle and Crofty? Because ESPN, who broadcasts it now in the States, they really just borrow the Sky guys and the whole Sky package, right? Which is what TSN here in Canada does as well, right? I actually have the app. And because I'm in Canada, I think I will continue to just use the app and get my Formula One that way and still get my Brundle and Crofty. So
yeah, like I watch it on TSN, and I'm sure they'll still get this Sky. If it's just restreaming Sky, great, and you just have to log in to access it. But knowing Apple, no, they'll want to own all the rights to everything they're shooting, so, and recording. So I mean, they could get great commentators, and it could be great, but I'm just keeping my expectations very low because they did do hockey a long time ago, in the baseball, no. So let's just hope they keep Sky, or I don't even know who they'd hire, but they're going to hire American commentators, right? Because they're going to probably think, oh, there's British accents, or viewers can't understand them sometimes. And
yeah, well, because I read all the time. I find this funny that apparently, like, if you go on Reddit, there's tons of Americans who complain about who are these guys and what the hell are they talking about, because they use all these weird British jargon, and I'm like, I just find that so like cute and interesting. I'm like, oh, what are these funny, like these guys, and they just seem so, and like Brundle's just so authentic. You just he's older now, but he's still stayed like in touch with the modern technology. I think there's good stuff. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a full-time Jensen Button, or because they also, Americans love British accents, so maybe they'll try and like do that tactic. But there's some interesting stuff there. There's some fun other things I was looking through that apparently it says, I'm reading the press release. In addition to showing F1 on Apple TV, Apple will amplify the sport across Apple News, Apple Maps, Apple Music, Apple Sports, and Apple Fitness Plus. So like, can you are you work out with Lando Norris or something? Like, I don't know what that really means, but they're gonna apparently just go full in. So,
well, it's gonna be Danica Patrick and one of the Walter brothers commentating or something.
The other thing that I thought actually that becomes an interesting storyline here is what do they do with Drive to Survive? Because there's no way Apple is going to want Netflix in there, getting a piece of this action. So I could see, I don't know when the Drive to Survive like contract goes until or whatever, but I could see that becoming an issue of concern in the future.
I don't know. I don't think they'll. I mean, it could be an issue, but I don't think it's going to be something they have any pull. I mean, I'm sure Sky's never been happy they're there, but F1's such a juggernaut of a force, they could probably care less. They'll just say to Apple, well, we'll go sell to someone else, and they'll get all the money from the sport. But it is a good point. Like, maybe Apple tries to take it, but yeah. We'll
and also
wait and see.
And the Netflix thing is global, and really, so this deal is just in the U.S. For Apple TV, but they've also hinted that it could expand elsewhere in the future. So, and you can see that coming. Like they're probably going to want like global rights, or at least rights anywhere where it's very profitable, right? So, yeah.
Bell Media, TSN, stay strong. Keep Sky Sports stream, please.
I like my app.
All right. Moving on.
Next story. So here's the you're looking at a photo of what Mika Hakkinen says might be the first female Formula One driver. She just happens to be Ella Hakkinen. So she's a karting driver. So, but there was an interesting quote recently where he basically came out and said that he thinks that his daughter could be a future Formula One driver, which is very interesting. He said her motivation is incomprehensible. She wants to be a racing car driver. At this point, she's a real badass. So we'll see. He seemed to think that actually, if it wasn't her, it's still going to be somebody within the next 10 years. So there aren't a ton, and the sort of lower series don't get a lot of publicity and stuff like that. So and I also think, like, I don't know, come from a sports car background or something. It may not be like, from single seaters. There's a lot of like in endurance racing. There's a lot of like even the like all female teams and stuff like that. So we'll see. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think Formula One's wanted a female driver for a long time, and there's been some that you thought might make it, but I think now like there's so many women in motorsports, and a lot of them are better than the men they're racing against. So it's just you're right, it's an inevitable. It's just when's it going to happen? Who's it going to be? And she's still pretty young. I think she's definitely a young teenager still. So there's
She's
years
14.
to develop.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She's
So
a
she has
kid.
years to get there. And although some kids at 14 are already in like Formula 2 at this point. But
It's wild to see when I saw something the other day. It was like a random thing about a kid who had moved up to Formula 3 or whatever, and I'm like, this is a baby. I'm like, this is like my son's 15, and he races like slow go-kart, like Briggs and Stratton engines, not these like crazy two-stroke monsters. So I can't imagine, just moving into that speed. I had a funny my real estate agent last time I sold my house that her son went and raced in Formula 4, I think. He went from karts to Formula 4, and like they're doing 120 miles an hour in Formula 4. Like they're moving.
Mhm.
So she said that was it was fine for him. That was more of a stress for her to get over. It's like, oh, now they're going crazy fast.
Well, I mean, I don't think there'd be any like favoritism because her dad's Mika, but the nice thing is he would keep doors open that otherwise might not have the ability to. So if she has the skill, I think she'll get a full shot at this, which is nice because I'm sure there's been plenty that have had the skill as many that are on the grid now and they just didn't get the opportunity. So
yeah, it's not just about skill, right? You need the connections, and the fact that having your dad like that. Verstappen's dad was a Formula race driver. This is how it happens. You need those connections to get in, and you need those connections to bring in the sponsors so that you can even continue up those ranks, right? Because it costs so much money. So,
yep. Well, all the best. I hope she makes it. And I guess if she's karting now, she's gonna have to move up pretty quick because it seems like these days, if you're not a prospect by 18, you're done.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I do think you can they tend to jump now pretty dramatically from like the top level karting to even like was it Verstappen a guy that actually went to like Formula 2 right away? Like he never even did Formula 3. There was some weird combo like that, or he did Formula 3 and he skipped to F1 and he didn't do F2 at all. There was some weird thing like that. So if you're really good, you can sort of like it's like the kids in school who are so smart they jump grades, right? That's how it works.
We also talk about Verstappen, who's an alien, who's not actually human, has reactions that don't exist on this planet. So.
All right, last bit of news.
Other drivers.
Yeah, last bit of news. This was like kind of, I guess, everybody kind of knew what was happening. Russell Antonelli signed for Mercedes, official, right? So, although I still haven't I haven't paid enough attention to know, but I think it's still just like 1-year contracts for both. So, nothing super great for either of them. I think the bigger story maybe is that now we're closing in on the remaining seats left for next year. And the remaining seats there's one seat open at Alpine, and there's one seat open at Red Bull, and of course there's both seats open at Racing Bulls. So Red Bull just can't seem to sign drivers, so they've got 3 open seats amongst their 2 teams. I
think it's maybe not necessarily just 3 open seats. They just always seem to not sign till last minute. It's like unless you're Verstappen, you're on short-term contracts. Like of the 3 seats, I would expect at least one of those guys to be back, maybe 2. But Alpine's interesting because, I don't know what they're going to do. Like, are you going to go through another rookie, or are you now trying to get someone else? And this Mercedes thing kind of makes sense because it's, as we've said so many times, there's a whole new world next year. And I wonder if it's a combo of the drivers and the team are both like want to feel each other out. So the drivers are like, well, if your car sucks, we might want to go somewhere else. And the team might be like, if you guys are not that good in a new car, we don't want to keep you around. And maybe Oscar's free after next year and some other guys. So
well, there's always been those rumors. I actually wonder if we're going to get to I haven't looked, but what does the contract situation look like at the end of 26? So like there is obviously, that's what we said, like everyone kind of wants to figure out who's got the best car, who's got the best engine at the end of that year, right? So we'll know, and then I'll have to look at like what that winds up like. It's like half the field going to renew again, and then it'll just be this free for all of new drivers, new everything. So time will tell, I think, but it'll be exciting all around. So
so I'm just looking. It looks like it looks like Oscar's actually locked up till the end of the 2023 season. 2027, sorry. But
Oh, is he? Okay.
Lando's at least the 26, but
Yeah.
I imagine they're going to keep him around. But yeah, like I think, how was Lewis? 3 years? So he's or is it
No,
just
I thought
2
Lewis
years?
was just a 2. So
So he's that's open at the end of next year.
yep.
Clearly, both Mercedes are.
Yep.
Verstappen's locked in a long time, but who
I think
knows
so
who his
too,
teammate's
yeah.
going to be? It seems to be someone different multiple times a year. Yeah, so there could be a lot of openings, and I believe Alonso's only 1 more year, right? Like he said,
He
he
is,
just
yeah,
kind of stick
yep.
around for the.
Yep.
So
Well,
there'll be
and you got to
Aston.
think Stroll's going to be done eventually. Like he's just going to have to pack it in. So Aston Martin has a lot of seats opening up potentially. So maybe I'll bring
I don't know.
that
I
to
think
a
as long as his dad's running the show, if he wants to race, I think he will. I mean, it's not like there's been terrible racers. I'm not going to name some names, but like perennially, I said that word wrong, but always in the back or always crashing.
Yeah.
And I mean, people give Stroll a hard time, but when the car is decently competitive, he's good. Like I think he's pretty much outperformed Alonso this year points wise, and he's been up there. So it's not like he's wasting a seat. It's just I would like to see what he could do if the car ends up being one of the top 4, because I think he'd surprise some people.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith. I think I agree that he's better than sort of the hard time we give him. But he's not one of the top 20 drivers.
No, but
I bet you could find 100 drivers in the world who could drive that car better.
But I think that's probably true of like half the field, right? Like we said, it's not always about opportunity. So if you get in a good car, you can suddenly be a lot better than maybe your ability because your car's so good. So.
No, I totally agree. You're not wrong there. That yes, that you could find a lot of people who. That's what we've seen. I think this year with all these rookies, we brought them all in, and we thought it's going to be crash fest. They're going to be terrible. They're going to be whatever. Most of them have been super impressive. Like there's been some. This is a really great crop, and I think that's where it's like okay, it's not such a bad idea to churn guys quickly. I mean, it sucks because you want people to. Some people do take time to learn, but yeah, it's been a good year for the rookies all around. So
yeah, I mean, it's not to be overreaching and super generalization, but it seems to be something in sports lately where a lot of philosophies are changing. Where it's just because someone's established or they had great success or they're no name, keep them around. Like again, go back to my baseball. There's a huge push now where these unknown rookies come up and dominate because they're given the chance, as opposed to the 35-year-old. Well, he's been here forever. We should keep him going. Like it's the culture and thoughts are changing. And like you said, in F1, all these rookies came up that proved they were really good, and they might not have got the chance 10, 20 years ago. So
yeah. No, I think it's great. I give the young guns a shot and see what happens. Make it more interesting. So.
Yeah, well, that's all the stories. We went a bit long with this week, but there's lots to talk about. We'll see what happens in Austin. It will have happened by the time people hear this, but Coda's usually pretty fun. I'm hoping for a good race. Yeah, you usually get some unexpected front runners. So yeah, hopefully it's a good race and it's not a boring one like the last race. And the season's winding down.
It is. Awesome, Mike. We'll talk soon.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
Okay, so that just about brings us to the end of the Auto Guide show, brought to you by eBay Motors. We'll just quickly cover what's gone on this week and what's coming up. So you had a lot more going on, so I'll just quickly talk about what I did. So this week, I've been driving the Hyundai Elantra and TCR. Americans may be confused. Well, it is a Canadian-only special edition, which is pretty cool. There's one aspect to it that I could do without and is a little embarrassing, but we'll talk about that on a future show. I have never driven the N since the facelift, and it is so much better, and it is so good, and I'll just leave it there. And I also, as I mentioned, was at the grand opening of Rolls-Royce in Oakville, which is their latest store in North America, latest store in the world. And we got to talk to basically the president of North America and the global head of product and marketing, and got some interesting tidbits, which again, I was planning to talk about this week, but we'll talk about next week because there's some stuff that's interesting. Kyle, what have you been up to this week?
I've barely been home. So I drove the Toyota RAV4 to start the week off. I did that last week too. Turns out it's kind of an important vehicle, so I had to do it twice. And that also included the plug-in hybrid, so that's an interesting thing, and we'll talk about that on a future episode once the embargo lifts. Grr. And now, anyone who's watching...
the Grr Sport.
The Grr Sport. Anyone who's watching will see that I am currently in a vehicle, and it's actually a RAV4, because I am at the annual AJAC Test Fest here in Canada, where Canadian journalists from all across the country come together and test vehicles. It's just about the end of the day, and I thought I would wrap up in something I haven't driven recently. And it's also made in Canada, so it seemed like a nice little way to end everything. But yeah, I've driven a bunch of cars here, some of which I actually can't talk about yet as well, which is a nice catch for us. But yeah, I will have a lot to talk about. And then next week, we're driving a pair of Jeeps, which will be interesting.
Yeah, you were driving this Wagoneer that we talked about and the Grand Wagoneer, but probably not the refreshed one, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But it's the Overland, which is a new trim, which is like an off-roady version. And
True.
I'm all for the off-roady SUVs because they always drive better. Just quickly, I haven't been in or really saw the new RAV4 in person, but that side window is massive. Kudos to Toyota for all that air and space you get in there.
They specifically called out the fact that there is a bigger rear window and side window, so visibility is better.
All right. Well, also next week, at the end of the week, I will be traveling to drive the new Sentra, which may not sound exciting, but you and I are both pretty excited to try out this new car. So I'll have a full details on that once it lifts. And I probably won't be on the show next week, so it'll probably be Kyle with Greg, but I will be back soon. And that just about wraps up another episode of the Auto Guide Show.
Yeah. So until next week?
Yeah. And 2 weeks for me, maybe.
Yeah. All right. So long, everybody.
eBay has reinvented car buying. From click to curb, everything is covered. Ever try to buy your car online and end up in a parking lot with a stranger on blind trust? That era is over. Now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car, it's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. This is the modern way to buy your next ride on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary.